everyone, it's Fran from Village Dry Goods, and this is week 11 of our summer block sew along. I had a lot of fun making this block. We're going to show you a couple of different ways that you can do it, so come on back and let's get to sewing. Thanks for joining us. All right, let's get started on our block for week 11. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make 4 patches. So you're going to take one cream strip that is 1.5 by 6.5 inches and one of your golds that's also 1.5 by 6.5. Then you're going to do the same thing with your greens. You're going to take a gold strip and a green strip. You're going to sew those all together. Once you have that sewn, you're going to then subcut this into 1.5 inch strips. You'll have 4 of each color. Then you're going to press all of the gold ones to the gold, press all the greens to the greens. Then you're going to make another 4 patch, which is your center, using a green and a gold, and press those pieces to your green. When you have those all sewn together into their cute little 4 patches, they're going to look like this. So just set those 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't count this morning. How about 5? Set those 4 patches aside, and now we're going to start on our fun little points. First thing that I'm going to show you what not to do is try to do math and figure these out. The math does not work. So this was my first one, and as you can see, well, it's not going to be the right size. Then I got smart and decided, well, if you oversize this somewhat and trim it down, no. As you can see on that one, I don't have points at the top. This is why I decided to use the brilliant Miss Deb Tucker's V-Block ruler. This woman is a genius. I would like to have a little bit of her smarts, but her instructions are fabulous. She does have a tutorial on her site. I would suggest that you go look at it. It is Studio 180 Designs. Go look at her tutorial and you're going to get a lot more than you will from me. But hopefully you'll get enough that you can understand what we're going to do for our block. Like I say, her instructions are absolutely amazing, and she gives them for both right and left hand sides. You also have the option on this block to paper piece your star points. That is provided on your pattern and it is the right size. So just go ahead and paper piece that if you don't want to use a ruler. So let's go ahead and get started now on our V block. So first part we're going to do is we're going to do our center. So for your very first cut, you're going to fold this first piece over. It doesn't matter if you've got wrong sides together or right sides together, because we're going to open this up and it's going to be just perfect. So on her ruler, I have marked where my cuts are, just so I don't forget what I'm doing. So my very first cut, this is my center. So I'm going to use this line right here, the fold line for the center triangle. And this piece is cut at 3 inches because, and she tells you that right on the ruler, because this is going to finish at a 2-inch unit, but we need a little extra to cut it down. So I'm going to put that fold line right along the edge, and I'm going to cut. So there's our first piece. There's one of my centers. Now for our second cut, we're going to use this line here that says center triangle trim line. Isn't she brilliant? She's figured it all out for us. So I'm going to rotate my piece. I'm going to lay that line right along the edge. Notice I've still got my 2-inch finished unit right there. And then I will cut my second piece. I again will rotate my piece, use that line, cut my third, do the same thing for my fourth piece. So now we've got all of our center pieces cut. Now let's move to our side pieces, which make our points. So my first cut for my sides, look at this, she's labeled everything so nice. Cut line for side triangle. I'm going to line that up right on the edge. Now on this piece You do have to have these going opposite because we're going to be putting them on both sides of our center. So right sides together, wrong sides together, it does not matter, because when you cut one, when they're folded that way, you'll have opposite pieces. So let's go ahead and we're going to cut that first one. Now see, I have a piece that I can use on the left and on the right of my center, just like so. Okay, for the second cut, you're going to use this diagonal line that's over here by the numbers on your right-hand side. You're going to lay that right along the edge, just like this, and you're going to do your second cut. Now that will do your second center. So for your third piece, you're going to rotate it around again, and you're going to use this side here that says center line for side triangle. Snip your third pair, rotate your ruler around again, bringing that line right to your edge, and make your last cut for your fourth set. Now we've got all of our pieces ready to sew on. So here's our center, here's our side, and here's our other side. And what Deb suggests doing is opening up all of your pieces, putting all of your lefts and all of your rights together. Because when we piece these, we are going to strip piece them. Makes it much easier and we waste less thread. So I've got all my rights, I've got all my lefts. I'm going to set my lefts to the side. I'm going to take all of my centers and I'm going to go off to my sewing machine and I'm going to start sewing. Now don't pay any attention to the fact that these are not the right fabrics. I got into my stash and made some others. So when you sew these, Deb says just line up the edge down here with your tip and this one will come up here. And you're just going to sew all 4 of those pieces through your machine. She likes to press them towards your point. So take these pieces, you can cut them all apart now or you can leave them together, however you prefer. You're going to go to your iron and you're going to press all of these guys open. Then you're going to come back to your machine with your other pieces. Again, line up those little edges there and you're going to sew all of your second sides. Again, go to your ironing board, press all of those guys opened over to the red point. Set those all aside after you've got them all pressed. Now you have 4 units that look just like this. Now we're going to take our ruler once again and we are going to trim these all up. Now, when you trim these, it's kind of funky on your first cut. I put my V's pointing towards me, and on your ruler you can see this 2-inch line with the V right in the center. We are going to put that V right on our block, line up both the diagonal lines coming into that point, and now I am going to trim 2 sides. Now I'm going to turn my block around and I'm going to use my ruler on my 2.5-inch line. 2.5 inches because these are unfinished sizes that are on here. So if you were trying to use this 2-inch line, look what happens. You can't. You can see right off the bat that that's not going to be right. So you know you got to move it up to the 2.5 inches because that's what we need to trim this so our unit will finish at 2 inches. So trim your other 2 sides. When you do that with all 4 of your pieces, you've got all of your points ready to go. So now let's put our block together. We are going to take all 4 of our little V-block units that we have just made. Pretend that one is trimmed because I realize it's not. Then we have all of our little 4 patches that come over here. This one comes in, better turn it the right way. This one comes into the center. Would have helped if I'd had these sewn together, wouldn't it? Okay, so these guys come in here. Then your gold ones are going to come this way Then you're going to take your other green 4-patch and lay it in this corner, and your other gold 4-patch, and you're going to lay it in this corner. Now look how stinking cute is that block. Then, of course, you're going to put this will measure 6.5 inches when you're done. Each one of these little units, as you've trimmed them, will be 2.5 inches. As they're sewn together, then they become the 2. Then you're going to do your flying geese outside, just like we've done before. That's on one of our first videos. So you've got your 4 flying geese and your 4 3.5-inch squares in your corners, and there is your fun little block for week 11. All right, now sometimes we kind of look at these specialty rulers and go, well, that's just fine and dandy, but I've made this investment in it, now what else can I do? Well, that darn Deb Tucker, she's smart. She figured out some other things. Just by rotating that block around, you look at that cute little pinwheel flower that you could make. And I didn't say earlier about the ruler. This V-block ruler will make every size from 1.5 inches all the way to 6.5. So you can use this ruler for more than just our 2-inch finish that we've done in our block. Also, hey, what about a border? Well, maybe I just want to make a little border that looks like this. Or perhaps I want to make a border that looks like this. Do you see my units? Those are all done using the V-block ruler. So go ahead and give this ruler a try. I'm sure you're going to like it. Thank you to Miss Deb Tucker for this ruler.